What was supposed to be a fun night with friends turned into a dangerous game of seduction that should have never happened. In this story, I'll tell you how a party, a few too many drinks, and an unexpected attraction unleashed a storm of emotions and decisions that put everything I had built at risk. I never thought a small game could take me so far, but that night changed my life forever. My marriage to Andres had always been solid. We met in college and quickly built a relationship based on trust and respect. After 8 years together, we were a strong couple, but in recent months, something had changed. Routine had set in, and although we loved each other, the spark that once ignited our relationship was fading. We tried to keep the flame alive, but I felt that, no matter how hard we tried, something was missing. One of my best friends organized a party at her house to celebrate her birthday. Andres couldn't attend because he was away for work, so I decided to go alone. I thought it would be a good opportunity to unwind, relax, and enjoy a fun night with friends. When I arrived, the atmosphere was lively, laughter, music, and drinks that never seemed to empty. I felt relaxed, ready to enjoy myself. In the midst of the party, I ran into Javier, an old friend of Andres. We had crossed paths many times at gatherings and dinners, but that night, something felt different. Talking to him was easy, and our trivial conversations began to turn deeper in a way I hadn't expected. I don't know if it was the atmosphere, the drinks, or my own vulnerability, but I began to notice that there was something different in the way Javier looked at me. There was a spark in his gaze that I didn't remember seeing before. "Would you like to play something fun?" he asked with a mischievous smile. I wasn't sure how to interpret his proposal, but his carefree tone made me smile. He led me to a small room where some friends were already playing Never Have I Ever. It was a simple game, a bit silly, but the laughter and confessions that arose from each declaration made it exciting. At first, everything seemed innocent, a fun distraction with no consequences. But as the game progressed, Javier began to make more provocative statements, and each time our eyes met, I felt a silent tension growing between us. A flutter of nerves and excitement danced in my stomach. I knew it wasn't right, that I was playing with fire, but I couldn't help it. Javier looked at me in a way that made me feel alive in a way I hadn't felt in a long time. In a moment of silence, he leaned in and whispered softly, "I've always wondered how far you would go for a little fun." My heart raced. I knew I should stop this before it went too far. But instead of pulling away, I played along, letting his words pull me into dangerous territory. When he suggested stepping out to the terrace for some fresh air, I accepted without thinking. The night was cool, and the party music played in the background, creating an almost magical atmosphere. We leaned against the railing, and I felt his gaze fixed on me. "We shouldn't be here, should we?" I said, trying to sound casual, even though my voice trembled. "Why not?" he replied, moving a little closer. "We're just two friends enjoying a party, right?" The tension between us was undeniable. I could feel his proximity, his breath near my neck. His gaze was charged with desire and challenge, making me feel an excitement I hadn't experienced in ages. And then it happened. He kissed me. At first, it was a quick, almost timid kiss, but when I felt his hand on my waist, the intensity increased. My mind screamed at me to pull away, to stop everything, but my body didn't respond. We broke apart suddenly, as if waking from a dream. I felt guilt starting to settle in my chest, weighing down like a stone. "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have," Javier began to say, but I could no longer hear him. With tears in my eyes, I hurried away. I left the party without looking back, my heart racing and a feeling of dread enveloping me. What had I done? How had I allowed it to go this far? I knew I had crossed a dangerous line. I had betrayed Andres, and if he found out, everything we had built together would come crashing down. When I got home, I felt shattered. I couldn't sleep that night, lying awake in the dark, trying to understand how I had made such a huge mistake. Andres called me from his trip, and when I heard his voice, full of love and trust, I felt my heart break into 1,000 pieces. I knew I couldn't tell him what had happened. The truth would destroy him. I decided to keep the secret, but the weight of what had occurred continued to grow inside me. In the days that followed, I avoided Javier. I did everything I could to steer clear of any situation that could lead to something similar. I knew I needed to focus on my marriage, to reconnect with Andres before it was too late. Every time I looked at Andres, guilt washed over me. I tried to regain the connection we had lost, spending more time with him, discussing our dreams and fears, but inside, I continued to struggle with the burden of what I had done. That party was a harsh lesson on the consequences of playing with fire. I learned that while the thrill of the moment may be tempting, it's not worth risking a relationship built on love and trust for a fleeting moment of weakness.